Israeli activists continue to try protecting aid convoys headed for Gaza from attacks by extremist Jewish settlers. Before the war, 500 truckloads of supplies a day sustained Gaza's population. Due to strict security checks and the attacks, far fewer trucks now cross into the territory. DW's Aya Ibrahim reports from Takumia Crossing, where right-wing activists have been vandalising aid convoys en route from Jordan through the West Bank.
These Israelis aren't going on a day trip. They're on a mission. They want to make sure that aid for Gaza makes it there safely. But when they get to the junction, food is already scattered on the ground.
We've arrived at the site of an attack by Israeli extremists on an aid convoy meant for starving civilians in Gaza. And as you can see behind me, activists are now busy trying to save really what can be saved from that food.
They're encouraged by the effect they've had.
Because we were here and we made the police come here as well, and we encouraged the police to do whatever needed to stop them, we can see that only few of the boxes were falling down and most of the thing in the truck continue to Gaza.
We've also seen the police try to come between the activists and the attackers who, even as the police is standing right next to them, continue vandalizing the food as it lays on the pavement.
They are full of hate right now, and they are acting as if they don't care that people die from anger. This is not the country we want to be. We are not leaving this checkpoint till the settlers will leave the area, and we'll make sure that all the trucks will go and bring food to Gaza.
The police officers on site refused to give us an interview on camera, but said that on that day, they arrested at least 2 people in connection with the attack whose aftermath we witnessed. A few days earlier, near this checkpoint, there was a violent attack on another aid convoy. Activists there said Israeli soldiers did nothing to stop the vandalism. Extremist settlers have been waging attacks like these regularly in Israel. A report by the Guardian newspaper even suggests that some members of state security tip off attackers ahead of time about the location of aid convoys. It was violence like that which inspired this group of activists to organize their Solidarity Guard.
It's not only the question of what's going on in Gaza, it's a question of our society and which kind of a society we're going to be. Are we going to be a society that will allow hunger and famine and destruction and death to be celebrated, or are we going to stand against it and to say we are human, we are fighting for our own humanity?
It's infuriating, the fact that we need to be here. We'll always find people that will be disruptive. But I'm a citizen of Israel. I'm also an American citizen. As a human being, why are we not doing more? It's happening in my name. And it's for the government, for the police, for the army to do everything possible.
Insults come thick and fast. Nazis and Hamas, their fellow Israelis, call them. But they continue to try to get the food onto a truck and back towards Gaza. By the end of the day, they told us all the trucks had gone through with little damage. To them, a victory.
And Aya joins us now from Jerusalem. How common have these attacks on aid convoys become, Aya?
They've become very common since April. We've been seeing on social media on an almost daily basis videos of Israeli extremists associated with the settler community intercepting these aid convoys and destroying them. We've also heard reports of truck drivers being assaulted, even if they're not carrying aid at all. So that gives you a sense of the chaos that is around the story right now. If the particular settler group suspects that a truck is carrying aid, what they usually do is that they put a roadblock with rocks and they start attacking the driver, if he is Palestinian looking, if they suspect that he's carrying aid. He's often sort of by himself in that situation. And that's really, the frequency of these attacks and the randomness of it is, as we mentioned, what inspired this group to start organizing. And what they're saying is that their modus operandi is to really try and stand between the aid and the attackers, and also with their presence, because they make their presence very well known to the police, try to encourage and force the police to come and, according to them, do their job.
And chaos is a good way of describing the situation. I mean, what about protecting these truck drivers as well as protecting the aid? What is the police doing? What's the Israeli military actually doing?
So when we were there present, the police was present. And as we tried to show in the report, they sort of tried to keep the two groups separate from each other. But what activists have been saying is that previously, and certainly this claim is corroborated by the visual documentation of these attacks, the police has not been present and has, in some cases, just stood by and watched these attacks. That's according to eyewitness accounts by activists. And I just want to, paint a bigger picture about the situation with the police in Israel right now for our viewers who may not be familiar. The police is, of course, under the supervision of the National Security Minister, the far-right National Security Minister, Itamar Ben-Gvir. And we have seen him in the past couple of days sort of implicitly openly support these attackers, saying that he understands their anger, he understands their frustration. He says that he wants to see them block aid, but that they shouldn't be burning or attacking drivers. So there is some support coming from the man who really controls the police. And he has also boasted about being a member of the Security Cabinet who's actually voted against Israel facilitating aid to Gaza. And there are a lot of accusations coming from the activist community saying that basically because of this rhetoric coming from political leadership, namely the National Security Minister, police isn't really motivated to do their job. And in fact, the National Security Minister has spoken out against the police providing so many resources to protect the aid, saying that he doesn't really understand why so much police is there to protect the aid going to Gaza.
And there's been widespread condemnation of these attacks, of course, from Germany included. How's the Israeli government reacting to that?
Well, I've touched a little bit on what the National Security Minister has been saying. So from there, you can definitely see that there's he's not condemning the violence openly, but there's certainly an understanding for what the attackers are doing. But you're absolutely correct. We're now in a moment where Israel is getting a lot of pressure from the international community on many fronts when it comes to this war. Germany has condemned these attacks. The United States, Israel's biggest ally, has condemned these attacks as well. But we're also hearing a lot of condemnation from Jordan, because remember, a lot of this aid that's coming through the West Bank is originating in Jordan. And that's that's Israel's immediate neighbor, an Arab country with one of the oldest peace treaties with Israel, now also speaking out about this. And so it gives you a sense of the level of concern that this, domestic issue, we could call it that, is also resonating well outside of Israel's borders at a difficult time for the country and its political leadership in this war.
Context there from Aya Ibrahim in Jerusalem. Thank you.